Hello, and welcome to another episode of Law in Sarasota. I'm your host, Adam Tabrouge. Today, I'm very pleased to be joined by the Executive Director of the Sarasota County Bar Association and my good friend, Jan Jung. Jan, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Adam.
Jan, how long have you been the Executive Director of the Sarasota County Bar Association?
Well, I was hired in March of 1989, so it's about 26 years.
Well, it's been a wonderful experience having you as our Executive Director. How were we so fortunate to get you? Tell us a little bit about your education, first off.
Well, I graduated from Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, and with a degree in home economics. And in that curriculum, there was a lot of courses on management, and I somehow wound up in the profession of association management. And I was fortunate enough to become a member of the Sarasota Junior League. Had extensive training experiences with them, ultimately became their president. Then I moved on to work out at the St. Armand's Circle Association, working with merchants, which was a wonderful experience, and then found myself taking the drive over the bridge to downtown Sarasota, where I worked for the Downtown Association for 3 years, and then found my way to working for lawyers in Sarasota County.
And Jan, when we were talking ahead of the filming today, you were telling me you had a couple of great mentors who helped you when you were at St. Armand's and then with the Downtown Association. Tell us a little bit about that.
I did. Every place that I've worked, I've had wonderful people who've kind of taken me under their wing. And at St. Armand's Circle Association, it was Casey Gonsmart, who's with the Columbia Restaurant Corporation, a real visionary for the Circle, because at the time that I worked out there, that entity was undergoing tremendous changes because the little mom and pop stores were being bought out by larger franchise types of operations. And so there was a little uncertainty in the direction that the Circle was going to take in the future, but it has turned out to still be successful and still be a wonderful place for Sarasota. And the same thing happened at the Downtown Association. When I came to them, the city had a vision about downtown development. They hired good people within the government. They worked with the business people and the merchants and were interested in, turning around a downtown that wasn't, a destination place for the people that lived and worked in the community, nor the tourists. And because of the city's vision and the people that they hired, it is what it is today because of that foundation.
So how did you end up with the Sarasota County Bar Association? And tell us a little bit about what the Bar Association looked like in 1989.
Well, all of my jobs, interestingly enough, have been through people who known me and have called me and said, I know of this great job, you should think about applying for it. And that's how I had come to all of these jobs. But when I came to the Sarasota County Bar Association in 1989, we had about 650 to 700 members, and it was a fledgling organization, and it was a very exciting time to be working, within the legal community. It was at a time, though, that we were in somewhat of a recession. That happened to us, 4 or 5 years ago. The real estate market kind of bottomed out and lawyers were struggling as well as the community. But with a great group of colleagues, and I always consider, in the world of association management, that it's a team effort. And so we began to build the membership and build the activities, and it is what it is today over that period of time.
So let's talk about the Bar Association today in 2015. What's the size of the membership now, and what are some of the developments that you've seen over the course of your 26 years?
Well, right now we're about 950 members, so we've certainly grown in the past 26 years. We're seeing a lot of young lawyers coming into the area, where when I started, it was really the lawyer with 3 to 5 years experience coming into town and setting up a practice, or working for a large law firm. But now it's really young lawyers coming to Sarasota and setting up, in many instances, their own shingle, being on their own, which I think is also part of the generation, wanting to be in control of their practice and their personal lives, et cetera. But as far as activities, we really are focused on the administration of justice, as you and I have talked about before, and that is making sure that all parts of the legal system work collaboratively together to try to get the cases handled, to try to solve people's problems. And that is certainly something that we do through we have 10 practice sections, and an example of that might be a family law section, which is going to meet tomorrow in a little sidebar luncheon. And the listening audience might, want to know that the lawyers and the judges get together for educational experiences, and it isn't a discussion of cases as much as it is perhaps their judicial requirements that they like to see happen. They have certain idiosyncrasies, if you will, and it's just a good idea to attend these sessions so that you know what the expectations are of the judges. And there's a lot of exchange of ideas to try to make the processes work better and more efficiently. We publish a newsletter 10 months out of the year. We have a website, that members can go to. We plan special activities. Today we had a general luncheon meeting with a speaker who talked about technology and what the practice is going to look like in a few years, or even today. It's changing as we speak.
Jan, you mentioned the sections of the bar. Back when we were both starting out in the 80s, there were, I think, a lot more general practitioners, those attorneys who worked in a variety of fields. But one thing I've noticed is the trend towards specialization in the practice of law. Not all lawyers, but many lawyers have a niche practice, whether it be family law or bankruptcy or wills and estates. And I think that that's one service that the sections really offer, is an opportunity for lawyers to learn about the latest developments in the law and work with the judges, like you mentioned.
Well, and I also think, too, that the sections provide an opportunity, again, when you're getting into the specialty of the practice area. Board certification is certainly an aspirational goal that our organization in the Florida Bar wants its members to aspire to. And for your listening audience, if you're a board certified lawyer, you are taking more continuing legal education classes. You have to pass a special exam. You have to keep those board certification credits up to date. And it really says a lot about the profession and being the best that you can in your particular field. What's interesting, though, is some of the practice areas have shifted a little bit in terms of the interest of the younger lawyers coming out of law school. When I see, or talk to 1Ls and 2Ls, I'm encouraging them to go and look at the estate planning and probate practice as well as the family law practice, because we have a lot of lawyers in those areas that are on the senior side of the practice, maybe thinking about slowing down a little bit, and we're not seeing the younger lawyers coming into those areas of practice. And in the estate planning and probate area, we certainly have issues, the exploitation of the elderly. We've had some issues with guardianships, and the population in the state of Florida is not going to get any younger. It's going to get older, and that's a great career opportunity there.
I think you're right about that.
And the same thing with family law. Again, it's, I think, viewed as maybe a contentious area of practice, but yet we need good advocates for these families who are going through very difficult times.
Jan, one other development that I'm seeing over the last 30 years is a really strong development of our South County Bar Association. There's always been sort of this possible divide between North County and South County, and I know both you and I have sort of worked to eliminate that divide. But nevertheless, it's great to have an association for lawyers who work in Venice and Nokomis and Northport, so that they can get together and make sure that the population in that area is well served by the legal community also.
Well, that's very true, and I think one of the things that's unique to Florida is the geographical size of the counties. They're huge, and the Sarasota County extends all the way down to Inglewood Punta Gorda and in that area. And so lawyers down there need the same kind of opportunities to improve their skills as lawyers. And so it has been an absolutely phenomenal addition to the organization to have this group of about 100 lawyers who can have their meetings in the Venice area and be able to look at services that perhaps they would like to provide down there. And we're also poking and prodding government officials to take a look at the fact that maybe we need more court services in the southern end of the county, because that's that's where you're seeing the population growth.
Well, I am absolutely supportive of making sure that we do have full court services in the Venice Northport area. It's unfair to ask those citizens to have to travel up to North County to have their court matters resolved. And there have been some recent promising developments that seem to show that we're going to have expansion of the courthouse in Venice, and hopefully in the future move to some full campuses that will be able to serve that population.
And wouldn't that be wonderful? I think we want to make sure that our court facilities are safe and secure for the people who work within those buildings, but also the clients who come there for the services. And South County, the facilities there are old and in need of some improvement. And so whether it's renovation, whether it's building a new courthouse, but again, it's thinking about the campus and what we can include in terms of clerk services and court services.
And as you've mentioned, our South County Bar Association has been an important voice in terms of working with the county commissioners, working with the judiciary, working with the public defender and the state attorney to make sure that we can properly staff and open these type of facilities.
Right, and our members have formed committees, and they've been traveling to various locations to take a look at new courthouses that are being built, looking at the technology because they're aware of budget constraints and wanting to make use of the most high-level technical what do I want to call it, help to make it easier for clients to be able to have their cases handled without having to travel a half an hour, and if it were today, it would be an hour to get from Venice to Sarasota maybe.
Well, Jan, when we come back, we'll talk about some of the other projects that the Sarasota County Bar Association has been involved in recent times. So please stay with us for some more Law in Sarasota.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
And welcome back to Law in Sarasota. I'm your host, Adam Tabrouge, and today I'm joined by the Executive Director of the Sarasota County Bar Association, Jan Jung. Jan, one area that I really feel the Bar Association has excelled in over the past decade has been in the area of diversity. Could you talk a little bit about the Bar Association's diversity efforts and how we've been recognized for those?
Yeah, it's really an exciting project that we have spent some time focusing on. And I think there was a significant amount of members who felt that there was a need to have a diverse population of lawyers to provide services for clients in Sarasota. And that developed into a scholarship program. We partner with the Community Foundation. That's where our scholarship fund is housed. And every summer we provide an internship experience for law students. Basically, they're mostly from Florida law schools, but we do offer the opportunity to students who do not go to law school in Florida. There is up to a $5,000 scholarship awarded to the student for completing a 10-week internship in Sarasota County at a law firm. And they do get paid for their work. They don't do it for free. And it's a wonderful collaborative effort because the state attorney's office, the public defender, legal aid of Minnesota is involved, and the private law firms. And we've had a donation of about $80,000, or awarded about $80,000 in scholarships over the time that we've had this program. And the whole focus is to encourage these students to come back and live and work in Sarasota. And it's been phenomenal.
And related to that, I know that a number of attorneys have worked in the community, for instance, with the Booker High School courtroom and mock trial team, and other developments like that have been very encouraging.
Well, I think what we learned through our diversity scholarship program is the need to focus on the younger students, and that means those that are of high school age. And Booker High School many years ago had a law program that flourished, and then over the time it waned and then was not part of the curriculum. But there was a real drive with the diversity committee to take a look at this kind of opportunity. And when you have a principal like Dr. Rachel Shelley at Booker High School and Michelle Anderson, who's the Law Academy coordinator, you've got these wonderful people in place that can help this Law Academy to flourish. And so we raised money to build a mock courtroom at Booker High School. A couple of weeks ago, we held the annual mock trial competition at the high school. There were 4 high school teams involved. It was Booker High School, Riverview High School had a team, St. Stephen's, and then the Manatee School of the Arts. And the Booker High School team was incredible. They didn't win the competition, but they held their own. It was a very complicated trial, and our members came in to coach the students, and we had judges that spent time with them, and what a wonderful learning experience. And the academy doesn't necessarily also focus on becoming a lawyer, but they focus on the paralegal type programs, law enforcement, civics. Those are all things and careers that we need to nurture our students and to have them come back and live and work in Sarasota.
Well, that's been an outstanding program. It's something we can all be very proud of. And one word you used a lot as you have been talking is collaborative. Would you talk about some of the collaborative efforts of the Bar Association with other groups in the community?
Well, I think one of them is the program that we're doing right now. 10 years ago, we had an idea that we felt that the community needed to learn more about the law, and we felt that by creating a program that would be televised on various topics would be a great benefit to the community. And we found this wonderful partner with the education channel here, and the rest is history. You've had terrific guests, and there's been just an incredible amount of knowledge that has been provided through these programs, and they're up on YouTube. So we are definitely, in the right age with our technology, and education of citizens is extremely important.
And I have received great support here from all of the wonderful people at the Education Channel, and as you mentioned, for 10 years now. But there's some expenses that go along with putting on a show like this. So talk about how the Community Foundation has helped out.
Well, it's a very special partnership, because for us we're considered kind of a small bar association, to have its own foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit separate organization to raise monies, would probably not be the best investment of our time and our finances. But the Community Foundation provides a place where we can house the money and kind of under the umbrella of a 501c3, and anybody can make a contribution to the Diversity Fund. We've expanded the mission of that Diversity Fund so that we can include the work that we're doing at Booker High School along with the scholarships. And so it's been a phenomenal partnership, and we're very lucky to have a community foundation that's so supportive of our efforts.
And I'm very grateful to their efforts as well. And it's because of those collaborations that we can also then focus sort of on the main work of the Bar Association. And one of that pieces of main work is working with the judiciary to hopefully improve the administration of justice throughout the judicial circuit. One thing that we frequently do is the Bench Bar Conference. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, we basically hold that conference maybe every 2 years, and it's a conference that includes the whole 12th Judicial Circuit, which are the counties of Sarasota, Manatee, and DeSoto. And the attorneys come for a day-long conference, and there are various topics that are of high interest, and we try to bring in speakers that are knowledgeable about these particular topics. But all those bench bar conferences have a focus on professionalism. It's a big topic in the legal community, not only for lawyers, but judges, and we want to be professional in how we treat people, and be professional in the courtroom, and so there's a lot of conversation about this. And again, it's getting together with the judges and the lawyers, and the importance of that social interaction. I can't stress that enough, because if you know a party that is your opposing counsel in a courtroom and you know them on an outside basis and a social basis, it just makes everything work, in a much better way.
And you mentioned professionalism, and one thing I think it's important to keep in mind is that we are a service industry,
Yes.
and we exist solely to support the citizens and to provide good service to them, and hopefully that's the end result of the judicial process.
Well, and I want to mention also that we work collaboratively with the clerk of court. That office is an integral part of the legal system, and our clerk of court has been someone who has been on the cutting edge of technology, again, trying to make the administration of justice efficient and to be very service-oriented. And so that has been a wonderful process. And I don't know of other clerks in the state of Florida that have such a close relationship as our clerk does with us. And she's always looking for ideas on how to improve her service, or if she's testing a new type of technology, she will bring lawyers in and also the staff people to test out her electronic services and make sure that they're working properly. So.
Jan, back to the judiciary for a moment. They review my work when they rule, but we also have a process by which we evaluate the judiciary and the individual judges. Mm-hmm. And can you talk about some of the changes and improvements we've made in that process?
Right. Well, when I first came to the bar, the judicial evaluation was conducted during an election year, and members were asked of the candidates, which one do you prefer? And that was it. That was the basic question. And I think that over time we realized that it was very important to evaluate judges on a much more substantive criteria. And so on non-election years, our organization conducts a judicial evaluation. It is conducted circuit-wide. It's not just our members, but in our circuit, there are about 1,300 lawyers who practice or are licensed to practice law. So they get the evaluation, and some of the criteria would be like punctuality, integrity, ethics, timeliness, preparedness. So those are the kind of standards that we're asking our members to evaluate our judges. And we publish this on our website, so it's available for the public.
And it feels good to be able to give a little feedback for those that you work with, especially if you've been working there for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
And speaking of working for a long period of time, Jan, you've been our executive director now for 26 years, but recently announced that this is going to be your final year. Could you reflect back just a little bit about your career with the Bar Association and
It's been the best job in the whole world, Adam. Every day is different. Every day is challenging. Every day has a wonderful experience where I'm providing service to citizens, which is a big thing for me. I want to be able to solve people's problems, and so often they call our office and are in distress about a legal issue or not being able to find the help that they need, and that is just a feel-good, time for me. But I think also it's looking at the way the legal system works in Sarasota and in our 12th Judicial Circuit. I mean, we really do have a phenomenal legal unit, if you will, where people work together, and that's not true in all circuits. In many circuits, there are no opportunities for judges and lawyers to work together and to have meetings together and to try to improve how they provide those services. So it's just been an incredible time, and I have enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, we have a board of directors that governs the Bar
Yes.
Association, but board members come, board members go. You have been the one constant, steadying presence, certainly throughout all the time that I've worked with the Bar Association, and you're going to be very difficult to replace.
Well, thank you, Adam.
And really, I wanted to take this opportunity on behalf of the nearly 1,000 members of the Bar Association and everybody who's been with us past and in the future to thank you for all of your efforts and work. You really have been that kind of presence that we've needed so that we can do our work as attorneys. So thank you, Jan,
Well, it's my
all of
pleasure.
your efforts. And looking forward into the future, what do you see as the future for the Bar Association or for yourself?
Well, I think for the Bar Association, I think that they will continue with their legacy that they've established even before my time. I mean, the association there was a Bar Association in 1935,
Wow.
so it's a long history, and they will continue to do great things and continue to provide the services that they have, and the practice of law is going to change, and there will be opportunities to hone the practice and be up to date on those things. As far as I'm concerned, one door closes, another one opens up, and I'm looking forward to whatever might come my way in the future.
Well, we're looking forward to finding out what happens in the future. And for those who are interested, we do have an outstanding website. What's the?
It's www.sarasotabar.com.
There's a lot of good information for attorneys and for the public that's available on that website. So, Jan, thank you so much for being my guest today on Law in Sarasota.
Thank you, Adam.
And thank you for watching another episode of Law in Sarasota.